The West Hendricks School Corporation violated a federal law meant to keep your child safe in school. That's the findings just released from the Federal Office for Civil Rights. The feds launched their investigation back in 2019 after WRTV Investigates started looking into allegations that the school district failed to properly address sexual misconduct. And tonight, before we get to WRTV Investigates Kenney, let's dig into why Title IX is important. It's the 1972 federal civil rights law that bans sexual discrimination in education, best known for breaking down barriers for women in sports. Title IX also requires schools to respond to reports of sexual violence and take steps to prevent it. This is a process completely separate from any criminal investigations. Schools that do not comply with Title IX can lose federal funding. WRTV Investigates Kenney has been following issues surrounding Title IX and education for years and joins us now with why these findings are so important.
A parent filed a complaint with the Federal Office for Civil Rights back in 2019, alleging the West Hendricks School Corporation failed to address allegations of sexual harassment and also retaliated against people who spoke up about it. The feds found the school district did violate Title IX, and they've reached this 5-page resolution agreement that requires the school to make changes.
The Federal Office for Civil Rights says the West Hendricks School Corporation failed to comply with Title IX, saying the district did not promptly investigate an alleged inappropriate relationship involving a former Tri-West High School coach and student A. Although they're not identified in the report, OCR is talking about former teacher Tyler Bruce and Stacy Lewis's daughter, who was 16 years old at the time.
It was pretty frightening that all of those things I thought were true and more.
We spoke with Lewis back in 2019 when she filed a tort claim notice against the district alleging they failed to protect her daughter. OCR said in its report the corporation failed to conduct a prompt, thorough, and impartial inquiry of the alleged misconduct. The district ultimately fired Bruce, but OCR found these actions were delayed, during which time the former coach continued to sexually harass student A. In addition, the corporation did not inform student A or her parent of the outcome of any investigation, and the corporation provided insufficient documentation to show that it provided her or other parties with supportive services.
Is any of that a surprise?
Not at all. No. Follow-up and documentation was something they struggled with throughout this process, and their Title IX experts were the ones involved in this case, which is even more concerning.
OCR says the West Hendricks School Corporation had at least 10 other reports of alleged sexual harassment between 2018 and 2020. OCR found in several other cases the corporation failed to separate students to prevent further harassment.
What did you think when you read these documents?
Well, the first thing I thought is it was really unfortunate that my daughter wasn't the only one who was in this type of situation. And they did find that all those things I said were happening, and they were happening at a much broader level than I even knew. And not only was it happening, but there wasn't any type of follow-up.
The feds also expressed concerns the district did not preserve records as required by law. OCR is also concerned former attendance officer David Pyatt and former superintendent Mike Springer are no longer with the district, suggesting that they may have been subjected to adverse actions for reporting and investigating the alleged harassment. They're still investigating whether the district retaliated against them. Pyatt is not surprised the district violated Title IX, something he's been saying publicly for more than a year.
I guess for me, it's vindication.
Pyatt was the one who reported allegations involving Tyler Bruce to the Department of Child Services.
The safest environment for students is when you listen to the students. And that was the biggest problem from the very beginning of all this, is not listening, the staff not listening to the students and taking their word and investigating it seriously.
As part of a 5-page resolution agreement with OCR, the school district has to make the following changes to comply with Title IX. Develop a record-keeping system, provide training to employees on that system and Title IX. Contact parents of all current and former students who experienced sexual harassment between 2018 and 2020 and invite them to share their concerns. For 2 years, the district has to send OCR copies of sexual harassment complaints and investigations. The agreement also requires the district to issue a letter to Stacey Lewis by October 1st about the agreement and ask her to share ideas.
Do you plan to share any of your concerns?
Well, I'd like to start with getting the letter, which hasn't happened, which is a big concern that if they were taking this really seriously, that letter would have made it here before the deadline.
David Pyatt says the district needs to make changes to be safe for students.
My two girls are in the school system. One's just started middle school. So it means everything to me still. They validated that what I said was true, and that felt good. But at the same time, is anything really going to change after this?
Tyler Bruce pleaded guilty in May of this year to a misdemeanor charge of attempted obstruction of justice. As part of a plea, prosecutors dismissed child seduction charges. In addition to Bruce, the district also fired 2 other employees for not properly addressing misconduct allegations. Working for you, Kenney, WRTV.
We did reach out to the West Hendricks School Corporation on Thursday for a response, and we are still waiting to hear back. If they do not comply with the agreement, they could risk losing federal funding. And if you have concerns about how your school is handling allegations of sexual misconduct, here's the steps you can take. Contact a teacher, principal, superintendent, or the school board. Put your concerns in writing and document incidents, including the dates. Remember, you are legally obligated to call the Department of Child Services if you believe a child is the victim of abuse or neglect. That number is 1-800-800-5556. If you suspect criminal activity, call the police. You can also file a Title IX complaint with the Federal Office for Civil Rights.